Sup, my name is Ray for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Council. Welcome to the top 10 countdown on the top 10 fusion decks. Not fusion monsters, that's a different time. This is the top 10 fusion decks. So if you want to see a future top 10 that we have yet to do, then make sure to let us know in the comments. We try to get these out once per week, but we're not always able to, because we're always trying to prepare new kind of content for you guys, and sometimes we do have delays and it's out of our control. So this fusion list will focus on any deck that can fusion any sorts or any means. So there's really nothing that is being left off because of the simple fact of this. Contact fusion or special summon fusion or just any sort of fusion in general, as long as it comes out with a purple card, will be on this list. And there will pretty much only be one honorable mention, and there'll be a reason why. But before we get completely started, let me just put it this way. This list is my personal opinion. You may not agree with it, but this is how I see the fusion decks and the way I see them. And it's how I feel about them. So, you have the comment section to let me know what you think on your top 10, or what your top 10 would be for fusion-wise. And if you want a top 10 exceed decks, I can easily do that, but I need a rank for them. Do you want a rank 4, or do you just want complete exceeds in general? So, let's go straight into it. We also had top 10 synchro. So, like I said, this is the top 10 fusions, kind of a follow-up, but you guys requested it. So, one honorable mention I will mention is Cyber Dragons. And the only reason they're getting the honorable mention is because there's a few decks that do fusioning a little bit better than they do. Now, these were one of the first two decks to really show off fusions and what they really could do around 2010, somewhere around there. During the GX era, we all got excited about, and it was fun to watch. Now, that date may be a little bit off, but close enough, right? So, machine-type fusions in the form of Cyber Twin, Chimera Tech Overlord, and Cyber End Dragon get our honorable mention at number 11. But because this is the top 10, let's go straight into it. At number 10, we have GBs, Gladiator Beast. During the days when they used to be meta and they were a threat, and Test Tiger with Rescue Cat and 20 different variations of them probably winning worlds or close to it, gave them the power to fuse. But they didn't fuse like normal. They didn't use polymerization. They used contact fusion. This was revolutionary at the time because they were pretty much one of the first decks to do contact fusion. Now, as I said earlier in this list, any kind of fusion, as long as it's a fusion, as long as it brings out the fusion and it's the primary focus of the deck, will be on this list. Cyber Dragons to a point do have it as well, or it helps win. It helps the deck win. We'll also look at it that way. But this list is kicked off by Gladiator Beasts because of their ability to do it and their meta-defining ways back in the day. But nowadays, they're not as good as they were, hence they make the cut at number 10. At number 9, we have Buster Blader. Now, this is a relatively brand new spanking deck that just doesn't only fuse, but let's be honest. The deck has its own super polymerization, and the fusion ain't half bad. The fusion's actually pretty fucking good, and does a shitload of damage extremely quickly. There's even an OTK for it. So here's the thing. Even though it's fairly new, and we don't know if that's all the support it's getting, we're going to mention it here at number 9 regardless, because its fusion is just that damn good. And it really has shined through for me to put it here at number 9. And that's pretty much all I'm going to mention, because I just want to kind of speed through, because I have a lot of stuff to film today, so don't take it personal. Number 8, Meldarius. I may be saying that wrong. The little fairies that confuse and lock fields and be annoying. Their consistency needs a little bit of work, but they do fusion summon. Their fusion summons are annoying as anything. And pretty much, if you know anything about fairies, they can abuse the shit out of Honest, and that's pretty much all you really do need to know, is that you see Honest, it's good deck. No, in all seriousness, this deck actually makes the cut here because it focuses on fusing to a point. It has other things it can do, obviously, but it is something that it does use to help win. Moving on to number 7, because I just really want to get through the list, because there's certain decks I really want to talk longer about, is Dark Magician. Now, this isn't your typical fusion deck, and maybe you don't do the Eye of Timaeus build or the Dark Magician Girl build or the whatever using fusion build. But Dark Magician has plenty of fusions for it, so it makes our cut at number 7. Dark Paladin, the Amulet Dragon, Dark Magician Girl Knight will mention because of the fact that it is technically Dark Magician in name, except that it's a girl, not the man, but it still counts to a degree. But in all seriousness, Dark Magician is pretty much one of the first monsters we get introduced into this game. If you've watched or played it as long as I have, then you know. So, anytime we can mention Dark Magician on a top 10 is always a fun time for me. It has a special place for me. Amulet Dragon is a beast. It is a fun fucking beast to use. Dark Paladin, super fun. Buster Blader just got a bunch of support. And as Buster Blader even made the cut at number 9, we could put Dark Magician here because it can also bounce off some of that support to get the Buster Blader out faster, therefore making the Dark Paladin deck that much better than it typically would be. So definitely at number 7, gonna give it to the Dark Magician. Number 6 is DDDs. Now I may be saying their name improper, and I apologize if I do, but these guys bring out their fusion extremely easy, and once they do, everything that normally would make them take damage, they regain life points. And some of you probably instantly go and regain life points. Doesn't seem like a big deal, considering that most of their search cards every turn you would take 1,000. This allows you to counteract that damage and also regain it, so you can actually utilize things that you wouldn't be able to utilize, but you can use them again. So let's put it in layman's term. This is like Black Winged Dragon, so instead of taking burn damage, it protects you. It gives you a 2800 beat stick on the field. It's extremely easy to bring out, and you gain the life points that you would normally lose, therefore keeping you in the game that much better. And again, it's not the only focus of the deck, hence it's not higher on the list. Hence it's at number 6. And some of you may disagree with that, but it is what it is. There's a couple better decks. And let's get into the big 5, as I like to put it. Number 5, Fluffles. Fluffles are pretty much, and I know I'm going to get hated for saying this, the glass cannon effect, where you go into your giant play and it's hard to make a comeback if you get stopped. And I know some people are going to go, but I could do this and that with it. I understand. I can do a lot of things with my decks too, but here's where it comes down to it. While they're not higher on the list, they're still gaining support. And the problem is that their deck's still better than none when it comes to being on this list that can recover easier. I don't hate Fluffles. I like Fluffles. I want to give them 100% go IRL. But when it comes down to it, they're just not up to snuff like some of the other decks on this list are. Now, I obviously put them high in the freaking list at number 5 because they do what they do extremely well. They can search Alpomerization. They have their own Miracle Fusion to a degree. They bring out plenty of fusions, and that's their primary focus. They're cute little animals that go into frightful little freaking Five Nights at Freddy nightmare fucking shits. Yes, I just made that reference. Go figure. But here's the thing about Fluffles. Many of people will even agree with me on this stance. They are pretty easy to stop, because once you lock them out of special summoning, the deck's going to have trouble until it gets that MST. And that's where it really comes down to, is a lot of these other decks can get over that to a degree, but Fluffles have a hard time. So that's the only reason they're at the number 5, not higher on the list. Number 4, Gem Knights. Gem Knights are popping up once in a while with Brilliant Fusion being able, I believe it's Brilliant Fusion, being able to be splashed as an engine now, as once it was just, Gem Knights. But they do something extremely well. They go extremely quick with their fusions. Once they get rolling, they ain't gonna stop, and they're gonna swarm you. And the fun part about Gem Knights is, with Gem Knight Fusion, you can just banish out one and get the fusion back and then utilize it again. And you could pretty much use like Volcanic Shell, but that's probably 3-4 formats ago. But hey, it's still a thing. but they can do better stuff now. So Gem Knights are definitely my pick for number 4 because of all the ways they fusion summon, all the different elements. They utilize the fusion, their fusion capabilities extremely well. That is their primary focus. They can go into an Exceed. I guess you can say they can go with Synchros if they use Effect Relic, but their primary focus is going into fusions and Exceeds. Primarily fusions because their fusions are that damn fucking good. Last 3 spots. In at the number 3 spot, we have Heroes. Now, the reason we have Heroes, and we're not just counting Mask Heroes before everyone starts roid raging, we're counting Heroes in general. So, even though you may look at evil heroes differently, I'm just going to put them in the hero category. Even if you look at Destiny heroes, I'm going to put them in the hero category because they all share that hero relationship. So, we're going to mainly focus on every sort of hero. Hence, I needed this part to be a little bit longer than the rest. So, here's the thing. You have Mask Heroes, which are close to meta, but not completely there. And I have Danklaw. I like to call him Danklaw. It's Darklaw. And he's really fucking good. You know that one. So I don't really need to go 100% into that. Then you have the Fusion Gate Heroes, which can go into like 20 FTKs. And some of the most fun fusions you'll ever have in your existence. You have Evil Heroes, which can go, obviously, very under-supported deck, but can go into some fun, abusable, evil freaking fusions. Then you also have every other kind of hero, which if you want to get nostalgic with Tempest and Steam Healer and God knows that meatball thing that was called Mudball Man, you have that option too. So you are not limited. And even with Destiny heroes, you have the Dogma OTK deck that works and does shit for you. And it is a fun deck to play. I will not lie. It is a fun deck to play. Now, honestly, out of all those hero decks, Mask is probably going to be the best one when it comes down to it. Now, you also have Hero Beat to an extent, but Hero Beat's pretty much evolved into Mask Heroes. Hence, I'm not mentioning it at the time. But everything else, still have the option of playing, and it's fun. You have plenty of ways to play heroes, so definitely a number 3 spot. So what beats Heroes if Heroes are at number 3, but Ryu says, hey, look all the different ways you can fuse with them? Well, something a little more closer to meta than Heroes. Ritual Beast. Now, Ritual or Spiritual Beast are a deck that has come out of the Secret Forces. It's still relatively new. But here's the fun part. You ready for the fun part? They contact fuse. So they are pretty much the evolution of GBs. And let's put it this way. If GBs and Infernities had a baby, it would have been Ritual Beast. Maybe not in style terms of the design and whatnot, but definitely in the play styles. If you've ever taken GBs or you've ever played Infirmities, this is the cross between the two of them. So instead of synchro climbing or going into an Exceed, which you still can go into the Exceed, you primarily go into a fusion. And from that fusion, you get a search. So that's pretty much your Archfiend. And then from that search, you can split them again and then use their effects and then go into another one. So it's a constant like, fuck you in the face, get 30 cards, go for massive, set my board up, and just take control of the game. And I did call them at one point one of the best decks, one of the best decks you could play for cheap, and a deck that will stand the test of time. I'm trying to remember exactly what I said. I think that was close to it. They are a deck that you can't underestimate because they will catch you by surprise. Now, most of these guys are wind, so it's pretty easy to take care of a wind deck, if I do say so myself. In all seriousness, Ritual Beasts are definitely make the cut as the number 2 spot because of their fusion summoning. Even though it's a contact fusion, it's not the typical way of doing it. But hey, it gets the job done. They play like Infirmities, they're close to the meta, and there is only one deck that is better than Ritual Beast when it comes to fusion summoning. Ladies and gentlemen, at your number 1 spot, Shaddolls. Now, I think everyone and their mother probably could have seen this coming. The flexibility of Shaddolls and still being, let's be honest, compared to Heroes, they're a young deck. Still being very relatively new compared to something like Heroes, to have that much capability and splashability with everything under the sun definitely have made their mark on the Yu-Gi-Oh community. Now, Shaddolls are not just meta. You can also use them everywhere else. So, if we look at this list, I could probably build a hero version. I could build a volcanic version. I could build a mermail version. I could build 30 other versions because the Shaddoll engine is splashable. Now, with Shaddolls, primarily the deck is focused on dark monsters. But because of their fusions, they can go into other attributes and actually gain usage. So Construct, Winda, the Water one, which poops on Necrots. You can actually do Necrot Shaddolls. You can do Cleafort Shaddolls, which ain't 100% the most consistent. But hey, it's fun as fuck. That's all that matters. It's fun. Don't kill the messenger. It's fun. In all seriousness, Shaddolls have 30,000 ways of building them. Probably less than that. I'm probably overestimating it. Probably like 300. But 300 is still nothing to scarf at. When you think about it at the end of the day, that is still a freaking high-ass number to use. So, if you've never played any of these decks, go out, try one of these on the list. Shaddolls, Ritual Beasts, Heroes, there's plenty on it. And that's why we do these. Because it's not only just to entertain you guys, but it's to show you some decks that maybe you didn't think about when it comes to fusing. Now, leave down in the comments what you want to see on future top 10, and I will make it happen. It could be anything Yu-Gi-Oh related. I don't care what it is. As long as it's Yu-Gi-Oh related, and we're okay with doing it on YouTube, as long as YouTube's okay with that, you know how that works, then we can do it. So make sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and check out the videos and the annotations as always. And I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching. I'm ready for the Yu-Gi-Oh Council. Till next time, I'm out of here.